All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers in tonight's video because today they got phenomenal news. They were linked to star wide receiver DK Metcalf because he just requested a trade earlier this afternoon from the Seattle Seahawks. But just zooming out really quickly, because we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff in today's video, the Chargers are coming off such an underrated season. And, because of the 20-point, kind of blowout loss where Herbert threw a lot of interceptions. He couldn't really throw it to anybody unless their name was Ladd McConkey. People are kind of turning a blind eye to this team, but that's going to change probably in a couple of days here when free agency officially begins, because if we're talking offense, it's so clear as day that the Los Angeles Chargers are a couple of playmakers away from really taking that leap. This is a team that put up 23.6 points per game. That was good for 11th in the league. They were super solid as far as J.K. Dobbins with the resurgence, Ladd McConkey, the rookie wide receiver, but they were so good, and Herbert specifically was so good. 23 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions for the just quality of receiving he had. And I don't mean that by any disrespect. I just mean they move on from Mike Williams, you move on from Keenan Allen, you trade him away in the offseason. And it's just crazy because Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, the rookie Ladd McConkey, what they were able to do with that group of receivers, it kind of is miraculous. Like, truly, this team really in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs in the loaded AFC, they really exceeded everybody's expectations. And all they need is to figure out a couple of spots on the offense. And yeah, I know they've got some question marks on defense as far as Bosa, Khalil Mack, a couple of free agents, but we're going to focus primarily on the offense in tonight's video. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Post at least 1 or 2 Chargers videos every single week. So if you could try and get this video to 250 likes, I would greatly appreciate it. So Ladd McConkey, it's just crazy. 82 catches, 1,149 yards, 7 total touchdowns, average 14 yards per catch. But when you watched in the playoffs against Houston, it was just clear as day that this team needs some help. So apparently the Chargers have been linked to DK Metcalf. He requested a trade earlier today. Jonathan Jones with CBS Sports said that the Chargers are a team several around the league are watching as a possible trade destination for the 27-year-old DK Metcalf. And even according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Metcalf wants a new contract and prefers to be traded to a championship contender. He has 1 year remaining on his 3-year, $72 million deal and is set to earn about a base salary of around $18 million for this upcoming season. Now, technically, he had a down year, 992 receiving yards and only 5 touchdowns. He definitely would have been over the 1,000-yard mark for the 3rd straight season, but unfortunately, he missed 2 games. So T. Higgins, started with T. Higgins a couple of weeks ago, right? He got franchise tagged, and I still don't really think T. Higgins is playing for Cincy for this entire upcoming season, but he got franchise tagged for the 2nd straight season. I hate for these players that's even still a thing, but looks like T. Higgins more than likely is out as far as the Los Angeles Charger target goes. DK is really interesting because you'd have to acquire him via trade and then pay him a little bit of money if he wants an extension. I like this because he's 27. He's around the age of Justin Herbert, and man, Herbert gets like the worst amount of flack ever. And I know the whole Jaguars game from a couple of seasons ago, I know he didn't look great in the game against Houston, like I said earlier on in the video, but this is still one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League, and he's entering his athletic NFL prime. I want to give this guy as many weapons as humanly possible, and I just think when you're doing something like that, we saw it work last year with Harbaugh in his first season. This team won 11 football games. I think contract-wise, you're better off not worrying about it. You're better off not thinking about it. DK Metcalf's an absolute stud. And if you woke up tomorrow and he was a member of the Los Angeles Chargers, would you be happy or would you be sad? That answer tells you all you need to know about, do you want to go out there and get DK? But I kind of got a feeling he'll be traded in the next week max. I think DK Metcalf will be playing for a new team. Now, if they don't want to go for DK, there's a couple of free agents out there. The good news is the Chargers have a whole bunch of young wide receivers, whether it's Quentin Johnston, whether it's Josh Palmer, obviously Ladd McConkey. So they can go out there and get a veteran, right? Davante Adams and Amari Cooper, or Chris Godwin, not like a 38-year-old veteran, but a 30, 29, 31-year-old veteran, and be perfectly fine because, like I said, this team can win right now. Right, that was Chargers were not supposed to win over 10 games this past season. The Chargers weren't even really supposed to make the playoffs. That was best case scenario, and it's what happened. So then we move to Amari Cooper. I don't really love this because when I watched Amari with the Buffalo Bills, there wasn't much there. 30 years old, he just didn't really mesh with that system. And I feel like a lot of that just kind of is part of Josh Allen's philosophy and the way Buffalo runs their offense. Finished an 8-game stint, just 20 catches for 297 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he's only 1 year removed from the latest of his 5 career Pro Bowl appearances. Like the Browns 2 years ago signed Joe Flacco off of the couch, and Amari Cooper went for 1,250 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns on 72 catches. That was just 1 year ago. So he's got plenty left in the tank, but I understand, and I'm a little bit weary myself going after him because of the tenure with Buffalo. Moving forward, we got to Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's really interesting. The only concern, I have 2 concerns with Chris Godwin. I don't think Tampa's going to let him loose. And then possibly even more importantly, I don't know if he can really stay healthy. He's missed times in 4 consecutive seasons, including his breakout 2019 campaign. But then in 2023, he was healthy for all 17 games. 29 years old, he was having an unbelievable season. 576 catches, 5 yards, 5 touchdowns, 50 catches over the first 7 weeks. And then unfortunately, he hurts his ankle and is done for the season. So I don't know what Tampa Bay is feeling, but I would definitely be happy if he landed with the Los Angeles Chargers. And then finally, we have Davante Adams, and we know he wants to go back west. We know he wants to play, or he's down to go back to the West Coast. We know he's down to play for a West Coast team, and he's just still really solid. He's coming off a down year, but started with the Raiders, nothing really going on with Minshew mania, goes to the Jets with my man Aaron Rodgers, but obviously their season was horrible. So he finished 1,063 yards, 8 touchdowns on 85 catches. And I know he's 32 years old, but Davante Adams is still a very good wide receiver in the NFL. Anyways, that's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want more Chargers videos, let me know down below. Let me know who your ideal wide receiver is, whether it's through the draft, free agency, or trades down below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want a defense video, let me know down below, but that's it for me.